Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director of Mobile County Public Schools. Studio today we have from Theodore High School Athletic Director Bill Meredith and also the Mobile County Public School Athletic and Compliance Officer Ron Lee. But first let's get to the scoreboard. In boys basketball and sub-regional play, Theodore won their 12th game in a row as the 6A number 2 ranked Bobcats beat McGill-Toolen 53-50. Theodore will now play in the regional semifinal against Dothan Tuesday at 1:30 to Dothan Civic Center. Chapman scored 23 points as the 6A number 3 ranked Blunt Leopards rallied past the Baker Hornets 58-50. Blunt will now play Daphne Tuesday at 10:30 at the Dothan Civic Center in the region semifinals. BC Rains ended their season with a 65-60 loss to St. Paul's. In girls basketball sub-regional play, Williams did it all for BC Rains, scoring 20 points and 12 rebounds as the Raiders advanced to the regional semifinals with a 48-32 win over Viger. Rain will now play Eufaula Wednesday at 9 o'clock at Dothan Civic Center. Blunt runs their record to 29-3 as the 6A number 2 ranked Leopards beat Bryant 68-30 to advance to the regional semifinals. Johnson led the way with 20 points and 10 steals. Blunt will now play Baldwin County Tuesday at 9 a.m. at the Dothan Civic Center. Murphy also advances with the 41-26 win over the Davidson Warriors. Robinson led the Panthers with 13 points. Murphy will now play Enterprise Tuesday at 12 o'clock noon at the Dothan Civic Center. And that is it for this week's scoreboard. After this break, we'll be back with Coach Meredith.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws. Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
For me, it started back in 1942 when my family moved to Mobile, and I began my high school career at Murphy High School. Today, it's so important to be able to ingrain in yourself what are you going to do in future life, and you need to be prepared. And so subsequently, everything at Murphy was very important in my life, and so it was instrumental in preparing me for future life and future profession that I wanted to be in.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Welcome back. We have Coach Bill Meredith, the Athletic Director at Theodore High School. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Glad to be here.
Coach, you want to talk a little bit about your career up to this point?
Well, I've been coaching 20 years. I've been at Theodore for 18, and I was a head coach for 11 years. And now I'm working in girls track and the athletic director.
Coach, this was the first year that you had been out of coaching. How did it feel to be away from the action on the field?
Well, you know, it was a fun time. My son's in school right now, and he was playing, so it was just good to watch him instead of having to watch everybody else. So it was a very relaxing time with a lot less pressure, so it was something I really enjoyed.
And Coach, you want to talk a little about your future plans, what you're doing now with going back to school and all?
Well, I'm going back to get my master's, and look, you finally have time when you're coaching.
Right,
you
right.
just never have time to do that. So, I'm working on that now and just staying busy at school.
Coach, in being athletic director, people don't really understand the time and the effort that goes into it. You want to talk a little bit about some of the activities that you have to do as athletic director?
Well, different than it used to be years ago. There's so much more to
Right.
it. Back when I played, we scratched the baseball field out and some dirt out, and we played there at Zerlot Park. But now There's facilities, you know, you got to have a baseball facilities, you have to have soccer to play, you have to have tennis courts prepared, and so there's so much to do just facility-wise, and then there's so much paperwork now to keep up with. You know, the state requires so much, and so it's a never-ending task to keep up with being an athletic director.
Also, the managing of coaches on the staff, that can be, sometimes that can be a problem, can't it?
It sure can, and I'm fortunate. I've had a lot of people there. There's Coach Robin, our basketball coach, has been there for years. Coach Smith, our baseball coach, and Coach Hughes, some of the people have been there for a long time. So they make my job easy as far as keeping up with that. But just keeping, you know, people in the right spots and taking up gates and managing the day-to-day, especially in the spring operations of the athletic programs is always time-consuming.
Coach, you want to talk a little bit about the football staff and the football season this year? I know you was there every game with your son playing and all, so you want to tell us a little about the season?
Yeah, Coach Collier came in and took over, did a great job, hired some good people, and you know, they got so much better at the end. We were young last year, and then this year they, you know, we're still a little bit young, but by the end of the year they were able to eat Foley the last game, and so they really have a good group coming back this year, and a good coaching staff. So you know, we look forward to what's coming in the future.
All right, talk about the basketball team. Of course, it's had I think they're number 2 now. A great season, and what's coming up for them?
Well, you know, it's if you had a chance to come to a game, it's been packed at our place, and we have it's a really good team this year. And then, you know, they were able to beat McGill 3 out of 4 times. They beat Blunt in the regular season, so they get the chance to travel to the regionals in Dothan, and you know, Coach Robin has them well prepared, and we think they'll have an opportunity to maybe go to the state tournament.
What about baseball and softball and your spring sports coming up? You want to talk a little bit about that?
They're all doing, you know, baseball is just starting off, but tennis is won a couple matches, and you know, soccer's doing well right now, especially the girls have done well, and so we're just in the process of getting everything going. Softball and baseball again start this week, and so, you know, we look forward to it. Softball has a great pitcher coming back in Devin Brown, so you know, we look forward to seeing them play, and they should have a chance to be very good this year.
Coach, in talking with you over the years and different things that have come up, I know you take great pride in the facilities there, and I'm just amazed when I go out there. It seems like everything's always cut and green when I go there. You want to talk a little bit about behind the scenes, trying to get all that together, the cutting of grass, whatever? You want to talk a little bit about what you do year-round with it?
Well, we're fortunate at Theodore. We're the only school in the county, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Mary Montgomery has everything on campus, and so we have tennis courts and track, and so it's always something. And I'm fortunate enough again to have coaches who really try to take care of the area. But you know, when you're talking about baseball field that has to be cut, and we're not talking about years ago where you just went out and bush hogged it before the season. It has to have ryegrass on it, sprinkler systems, and our softball field's the same way. Then we have a football field, and we have a 6-acre practice field for our soccer, and then you know, we just got through patching the cracks on the tennis court. So it never stops to keep up with it. But in today's world, if you don't have top facilities, you're just going to lose kids that won't come if you don't have good places for them to play.
Like I say, yours is always just a joy to be around. I know during the summer the coaches may go away, and they may come back and they may not. So you take care of a lot of that for them during the summer, don't you?
Well, you know, fortunate enough, it's something I enjoy. But you know, this year I've moved into career tech. I actually have classes that take care of that, and the kids love it. You know, we're teaching them a lot of things of how to take care of athletic fields and golf courses and things like that. So, you know, it's something that I enjoy, luckily. Right. But you know, we keep it up, and Coach Collier did a great job this summer keeping the football field up. But you know, and then Mr. Rao spends the money on it to make sure we have nice stuff, and we're fortunate enough we think we have the best in the county.
Well, that's great. Well, Coach, appreciate you coming back. We'll have you in the last segment, and after this message, we'll be back with Mr. Lee.
I went to Murphy High School. In fact, to this day, my blood bleeds blue and gold. To this day, some of my best friends are the high school football buddies that I had. We really had a wide array of classes available to us. All of my future relates back to the foundations that were given to me by the wonderful teachers and principals that I had when I was a kid.
I saw Mr. Tillman's class. Just that quick little 5 minutes I had with him made me think that I really wanted to do small engines. I just love tinkering with them, just a gearhead. Graduating from the Career Tech Center has allowed me to better myself, make more money, be more informed about the trade that I'm going to be in. I just felt like doing a trade is just better than working in an office or something. I have to be outside working with my hand or something.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Welcome back. This segment we have Mr. Ron Lee, who is the new Mobile County Public School Athletic and Compliance Officer. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, I think you've been on the job about 2 weeks. You want to tell us a little bit about the adjustment?
I haven't stopped yet. It has been quite an adjustment from the school to down here, but I'm excited about what we're doing. I think there's a need for it, and it's extremely busy, that's for sure.
Coach, when did you make the decision that maybe you wanted to go out of leave coaching and do this? What was the deciding factor in making this change? Because it's really people don't realize it's really a drastic change going from dealing with kids mostly now dealing with grown-ups. So
it is. It was a change, and as far as a final deciding factor of this is what I want to do, I think it was more of the opportunity. After 28 years of coaching football and 20 of those being a head coach, I wanted to see what else was out there, and the opportunity presented itself to get into another venue, but stay around athletics in high school, and I was just thrilled to death for this chance, and we'll see how it works out from here.
Coach, I know we've talked about things that we would like to do. What are some of the things you would like to do? And we'll start with the high school, or that you will be doing.
You know, the high schools, fortunate enough, and people don't realize it, we all get along. It's not a situation to where one school dislikes another. We're all in it for the same purpose. We're all in it to help our athletes and promote our athletes. But that's one of the biggest things we're going to try to do is start promote county-wide Mobile County Public School athletes, and making sure that we get those young men in the schools that they're zoned for, and at least educating the parents of the Mobile County Public School children that all the things that we offer, and that's our first goal right there.
I think people really miss the boat. It seems like, of course, and you hear this every day, we only hear the bad stuff, it happens, but when you actually go to school, and you've been in a few schools, there's good things going on in our schools, isn't it?
There are tremendous things going on with the coaches and the student athletes, and the time that the student athletes are putting in just to become eligible, not to mention the time they put in for their training. And for every minute that a student athlete's putting in, there's an adult coach that is right there beside him taking time out to do the things, and they don't do it for the money. They absolutely do it because they love those children, and they want those children to have a fair shot. And the ones that work hard, we want them to gain all the possible advantages that are coming to them, for sure.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about middle schools. It seems like sometimes the middle schools may or may not get ignored, or may not can get to some of the things that we feel like that they can improve on. with the C2C and all, what are some of the things with middle schools that you're looking to try to help them with?
Well, you mentioned C2C, in which Mr. Meredith mentioned earlier about the changes that have happened in athletics. High school athletics is no longer just a hey, come and play, and we need a copy of your birth certificate to make sure there's so many courses that you have to take. You have to take the STAR, and you have to go through the concussion, and everything has to be verified with the state because it's all on a computer now. They are going to start tracking injuries through the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And there's good and bad to that. The bad is it does create more work. The good is that our state is on the cutting edge, and they're wanting to do things right, and they're wanting to make sure that we're not putting anybody in harm's way, and that we're handling it as a business. With the middle school, that's a drastic change for them because they're now under that same program to where every coach that's out there has to be certified by the state, and they're following the same protocol that the high schools are. Their venues as far as game days change a little bit, but that's part of it. That's part of taking those steps and learning that you take one step into a little bit larger stage, and that's what we hope for our children. High school athletes of all venues, as they leave high school, they're step to a larger stage, and you know, especially if they get to play in Division I ball. And we hope that we prepare them along with the middle schoolers. We want them to be prepared for the next step they take to the high school.
Coach, how have you seen coaching change from when you first started to now? How has it changed?
With the use of computers and technology, it's incredible. A long time ago, back in the day when Coach Meredith and I both were getting started, if you wanted to learn anything about football, you had to get in the car and go visit that coach. I mean, physically take time out of your day, take a day off from school and drive 4, 5, 6 hours and hope that you would have someone spend 2 hours with you to teach you something. In this day and time, you can get on the computer and not just watch somebody through a webinar, but actually have a conversation with another coach that's 5 states over. It's so advanced now. I think with those advancements, we are starting to see all sports, not just football, all sports are starting to really take off. And no one's really stuck in the Stone Age anymore. If you have a computer, you have access to knowledge.
You sure do. Coach, talk a little about girls athletics, how far it has come.
Girls athletics, from the day that they were allowed to play half-court basketball and they couldn't play full court because they thought it'd make them too tired, all the way to the point that they are now competing at state levels, anywhere from track and field to basketball to softball. And if you haven't had an opportunity, for those who haven't had an opportunity to watch any of our female athletics in Mobile, you're missing a boat. We have some tremendous athletes out there, from individual sports, tennis and golf, all the way to the team sports. Volleyball, softball, basketball, soccer has really become huge with the female. And they're fun to watch, and they're not just girls out there. They are athletes out there performing wonderful skills. So I enjoy being around them. It's a lot of fun to watch them compete.
Coach, of course, I'm older than you. I was around when it first started, and I can remember watching, for instance, girls basketball. From then to now, it's just like night and day difference. I mean, we've got girls, especially at middle school, that we could put on the boys' team that could compete, you know. And back in the old days, it was just, a jump ball about every other play in real slow. Like you said, it first started out as half court, but I think they have come so far, and I think a lot of it has to do with our coaching. Don't you agree?
Oh, I think so. At this point in time, if you look, girls are actually in the YMCA are competing with boys in mixed leagues in basketball per se. And then the middle school coaches, I think, are doing a tremendous job of developing these athletes, because it's not just something to do. They give scholarship in female athletes. It's a great way to go to school. My daughter played at Troy on the track team and the volleyball team on full scholarship. Tremendous opportunity for her and for us as well. And even at the next level, the athleticism of these females, it's incredible what they've come to.
Really. Coach, appreciate you
Absolutely.
coming,
Thank
and if
you.
you'll stay right there, we'll bring Coach Meredith back.
Okay.
We'll be back right after this break.
I transferred to Viger High School halfway through my sophomore year, and the curriculum there, the instructors, teachers, the whole thing was just a shock to me. At Viger, you were encouraged to critically think, and so I was just well grounded to move on into college football and then on into the NFL. Well, for me, Viger High School was the start. It's where I started, and I'm very proud of that.
Nationwide, an average of 24 children die each year.
And another 17,000 are injured in bus-related accidents.
Many of these can be prevented. The safety of our children comes first.
For the safety of our future, obey all traffic laws related to school bus safety.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Welcome back to our last segment. We brought Coach Meredith back with Coach Lee. Coach Meredith, first question I want to ask you, how is it working at a community school? People don't realize working in a community school can be a little bit different. So you want to talk a little bit about being in that community school setting?
Well, you know, I enjoy it because that's the only kind of program I've ever been around. And you know, you come to the basketball games, you see the same people over and over again. And anytime there's a problem at school, it's easy to contact people that are around the community that's been there. And so, you know, it's easy to get support. And you know, sometimes it has its challenges, but for me, that's the best place to be. And our school is the center of the community. And so, you know, and Friday night at the basketball game, there was everybody in Theodore was at the game.
And you had a packed house Friday night, didn't you? So you had a good gate.
We started selling tickets on Tuesday, and we sold half our capacity before the game started, and we ended up selling. We couldn't let anybody else in the gym by, you know, the middle of the first quarter.
Coach, what's capacity in that gym?
We stop it at 700 is all we
great.
can take, and that's field bleachers and cheerleaders, and we don't even count those, and then the sides. And you know, luckily this year, our school's around 30 years of age, and the school system's going to put us new bleachers in for next year, and that'll be a bit of help, get a little bit more people in there.
Man, it's tough putting them old bleachers out, isn't it?
It sure is. You'd lose a finger and bust your head open pushing me. Sure can.
Coach Lee, you worked in both situations, and both situations are great. You want to talk a little bit about working in the inner city and also community schools?
Yeah, you know, anytime you're with a school system, and have been to where the school was the hub, and it was not just a school, it was a social event. Exactly what Coach experienced the other night at the basketball game. And but that's true even with the inner city schools. It's still social events. When there's an athletic event, people are going to show up. They love to watch athletes, but they're also there to visit their friends and their old school mates and everything else. I think sometimes we forget just how far we carry high school with us, and it never gets away from us.
I want to ask this question to both of y'all, and how has coaching changed from when you came in to now? I know for one thing it's harder to get coaches than it used to be. How has it changed over the years, Coach?
You know, I just think the time is so much more than it used to be.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You know, the summertime, you know, coaches used to be off, and then it's changed now to where, especially the football, basketball, baseball, softball, they're year round. So you never get an opportunity to stop. And then there's so much more demanding of coaches. When I was first started, we was just having VHS tapes, and so you may luckily get somebody that sent your tape off to college. But now everybody wants to be recruited, and so that takes up part of the whole time. And then you get into spring training and summer workouts, and then fall, and then you know, film. And as Coach says, technology we have, you know, has changed, but then that makes it more work, because now you break down 7 or 8 films now instead of 1 or 2 like we used to. So I guess the big thing is just time factor, and what you're expected to do is just so much different.
Coach Lee, I think he covered about everything, but
yeah,
but
I
if you
agree.
got something to add to
No,
it.
I think technology, and we both agree that not only do you break down more films, every day after practice you're breaking film down, because people are filming their practices. That's not just football, that's every sport.
Exactly.
So you don't just pack it up, make sure the kids get to go home. At that point in time, you pack it up and gather your coaches up and say, okay, let's sit down for another hour and a half and see what we accomplished today on the field. So yeah, technology definitely has its pluses, but it has its minuses with the time you wind up spending with it.
Coach, I get calls. Parents nowadays know about huddle. You know, and they call, and I think some schools actually let the kids get on there and do their own tapes. Talk a little bit about huddle.
I think huddle has been a tremendous advancement, because you can, as we were saying, you can film a practice, and that's something the coaches are interested in, and put that on huddle, and any college that has a desire to watch that child can go on that huddle site and watch him, not only in a game setting or a highlight tape, but they can see him, how he reacted at practice that day, what he did in common everyday drills, same drills they're going to expect him to do at the next level. And for college coaches, I think it's a telltale sign. And for athletes, I think it gives them an advantage, because sometimes on Friday night that athlete doesn't really get to show everything he could have been.
Coach, you talk a little about your administration. You've got a good administration there that you work closely with.
Yes, so Mr. Rao's an old coach, and so, you know, he wants to be successful in athletics, and he does the things necessary for us to have what we need. It's always a challenge. There's an unnecessary battle between athletics and academics, people think, and it's not something that has to be there, but everybody thinks if you give something to athletics, you're taking away from academics, and that's not the case. As Coach Savory says, and it's one thing I always remember, the front porch of your school is your athletics. That's what everybody sees first, and I think any school sees that. You see in colleges where, you know, South Alabama wants to add football because it makes their school look better. So, you know, Mr. Rao understands that, and it's great to have somebody who supports us in what we do.
You know, you go into schools and really, to me, and we've talked about this last week, Coach, when you go into a school and the school day's over, if you go after school and see how many kids are still on campus, to me that's a successful school. And you know, so I base a lot of these good schools on things that they offer to them. So, but anyway, we're out of time. Coach Meredith, I appreciate you. You work diligently at AD, and we look forward to working with you.
Sure.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.